Decoy. This one's a classic gotcha move. The decoy is all about luring an enemy to a spot where it's walking right into a trap, tricking someone into sitting in a broken chair. White sacrifices a pawn just to tempt the king out into the open. The game ends in a killer checkmate. Sneaky but brilliant, because sometimes the only thing you have control over in this game is how gracefully you can lose. Under promotion. When a pawn gets all the way to the end of the board, almost always player it promotes to a queen, right? But what if we're like, nah, let's mix it up. With under promotion, the pawn becomes something other than a queen, maybe a knight, bishop, or rook. This wild move can totally shift the game, especially when we're avoiding a stalemate or trying to pull off a unique tactic that wouldn't work with a queen. It's like ordering something different at your favorite restaurant just to shake things up. Overloading. Let's say you're given way too much to do, like you're expected to babysit, do laundry, and make dinner all at once. It's just too much, right? Overloading in chess is kind of like that. Spending hours assembling IKEA furniture. One wrong move and nothing makes sense anymore. When one piece is trying to defend too many other pieces at once, and when it's your time to attack, it just can't keep up. For example, like a pawn is trying to guard two pieces, the second one gets taken, and now it's all chaos, because it can't do both jobs. Rooks on the 7th. Rooks just love to hang out on the 7th rank. That's the second to last row on the other side, where they can really do some damage. Up there, they're like party crashers, attacking pawns, cutting off the enemy king, and even setting up checkmate threats. It's like that high vantage point in a video game. Once they're there, it's tough to deal with them. Discovered attack. It's like that surprise when you never saw that coming. You move one piece out of the way and suddenly another piece is attacking out of nowhere. Here, the knight jumps aside, but it turns out there's been a sneak attack happening the whole time. As the rook is now in play, the king has to move, and well, that rook's as good as gone. Fork. Classic two birds with one stone move. A fork is when a single piece like a knight or pawn attacks two or more enemy pieces at once. In this position, White's knight jumps to e6, putting both the king and queen in its sights. Black's queen even steps up and sacrifices itself just to make room for the knight. That's all about a heroic exit. Pawn breakthrough. This is one of those all-or-nothing moves you'll see in the endgame, like sacrificing a few pawns just to push one forward and turn it into a queen. Here, White doesn't just take Black's pawn. Instead, they sacrifice another pawn, creating a clear path for one pawn to march to the finish line and become a queen. It's like clearing the way for a VIP guest. Pin. Think of a pin as a trap where a piece is stuck because moving it would expose something even more valuable behind it. It's like if you're blocking the doorway and moving would reveal your hidden treasure. Pins can completely paralyze a piece and give you a big advantage. So simple, but yet so effective. Skewer. The skewer is similar with a pin's sneaky sibling, only in reverse. The valuable piece is in the front, and it has no choice but to move, leaving the less valuable piece exposed. Imagine a king moving out of harm's way, leaving the poor rook behind. It's like, oh no, save yourself, but someone's still getting caught. Now we're talking flashy. The windmill tactic uses a rook and bishop that swing back and forth like a, well, windmill. On each swing, they capture material like a non-stop grab and go. It's a relentless combo that can rack up captures and usually leads to a game-winning position. Mating net. Example, the king's surrounded and running out of room. A mating net is all about creating a tiny cage around the king, where any escape is blocked, making checkmate just a step away. In this position, White's got the king boxed in. And just a little nudge with a combo of rook or knight would seal the deal. It's like the king is in a locked room with no way out. Perpetual check. Ever feel like you're stuck in a loop? Perpetual check is kind of like that, but with a king getting checked over and over. The king can't escape, so the game just loops in an endless sequence of checks. In chess, that's a draw, which can sometimes save a game you were close to losing. Deflection. Deflection is all about pulling a piece away from its important job. Let's say the black queen is on guard duty, protecting a key square, like h7. White casually sacrifices a rook, practically saying, hey queen, come over here. The queen's forced to move, leaving h7 unguarded, and White swoops in with a checkmate on the next move. It's like distracting the goalie right before scoring. Interference. Think of interference as a move that messes with your opponent's backup. You slide a piece right in between an enemy piece and its defender, breaking their connection. Now that enemy piece is left high and dry, making it a prime target for a big material win, or even a checkmate. Classic chess drama. X-ray attack. An X-ray attack is when a piece lines up to threaten an enemy piece through another piece, like seeing through walls in a video game. Here, white has an eye on a bishop with double attacks. Black's queen is lined up behind it, and if she dares to recapture, she's next in line to be captured. It's like being caught in the crosshairs. One wrong move, and you're done. Undermining. Also known as removal of the guard, this tactic's all about taking out the defender so that an enemy piece is left completely exposed. It's the ultimate move aside please tactic. Passed pawn. When a pawn makes it past enemy lines with no one to block it, it's like a runner in the clear heading for the finish line. Passed pawns are powerful weapons, especially in the endgame. Here, white's rook can take advantage of black's vulnerable king and push a pawn straight for promotion. Zugzwang. Zugzwang is when your opponent is forced to move, even though every single option makes things worse for them. It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place, only with every rock leading to checkmate or material loss. It's a powerful tactic when you can pull it off, practically forcing your opponent to dig their own grave with every move. Stalemate. A stalemate is one of those, well, that could have gone worse situations. The king isn't in check, but they've got no legal moves left. It's especially epic when you're down by a ton, like in this 1880 game where white was losing by 5 points of material. Suddenly, white realizes the king has nowhere to go, sacrifices the queen, and bam, the game ends in a surprising stalemate. Total comeback move. Double check. Double check is when you hit the king with not one but two pieces at once. Since the king's getting checked twice, the only way to escape is to move it. In this position, white finishes the game with a double check checkmate. Double trouble for the king, no way out. Battery. A battery is when you line up two or more pieces along a file or diagonal to work together, aiming pressure right at your opponent's camp. Imagine two cannons lined up, ready to unleash. In this case, it's like creating a mini power-up where one piece moves and the other follows through for maximum impact. Backrank. Backrank tactics are all about catching the opponent's king stuck at the back of the board with no escape options. By setting up an attack on this vulnerable row, you can win big material or even secure a checkmate. It's like closing all the doors and watching them struggle. Sacrifice. Sometimes, giving up a piece can win you the whole game. A sacrifice might mean losing material, but if it traps the opponent's king or forces a winning sequence, it's worth every point. Sacrifices can be flashy, risky, and totally game-changing. Simplification. Sometimes keeping it simple is the smartest play. Simplification means trading pieces with your opponent to strip down the game to its bare essentials. This tactic is perfect when you're already ahead and just want to cruise to victory without any sneaky surprises. No fuss, no drama, just a clean win. And there we have it. That's every key chess tactic, from sneaky pins to powerhouse sacrifices. Each one's like a secret weapon, ready to turn your games around and surprise your opponents. Now, armed with all these tricks, go make some epic plays. If you enjoyed our video,